Welcome to US Movie Reruns. The title of this movie is Ferdinand. Remember to subscribe for more movie reruns. Caution, spoilers ahead. The movie begins in Spain on a bull farm. There the bull cubs are having fun playing with the exception of a bull named Ferdinand. Ferdinand would rather take care of his flowers than train for a fight. One day a truck came to the farm because Ferdinand doesn't know anything. Valiente explains it to him. Valiente is a bull cub who aspires to become the strongest bull in the arena and defeats all the matadors. Then there is another bull named Bones who has more speed than the other bull cubs, and there is Guapo who always feels nauseous when he hears the word matador. One day, Bones was pushed by Valiente. He almost hit Ferdinand's flower. After that, Valiente approached and attempted to step on Ferdinand's flower. If Ferdinand wants to save his flower, he's got to fight him. However, they came to know that Ferdinand prefers flowers than to fight. Soon the adult bulls came out of the cage to fight each other. Ferdinand's father asked his son, Ferdinand, to pray for victory. The matador himself had come that day to see the bulls. Ferdinand's father was chosen to be the bull that would fight in the arena. Feeling disappointed, Valiente's father left and returned to the cage. Valiente, who saw his father disappointed, tried to cheer him up, but instead he was embarrassed. On the other hand, Ferdinand's father was very happy because he was successfully selected to enter the arena. He also said that fighting a matador is every bull's dream, but Ferdinand seemed to disagree with him. After that, his father said goodbye and said that he would beat the matador and would return home soon. Then his father left the farm in a truck. Ferdinand returns to the barn to see his flower being trampled on by Valiente, who is annoyed that his father was beaten by Ferdinand's father. Ferdinand waited for days, but his father never came back, until one day he heard the sound of a truck coming. He thought his dad was returning home, but when he got there he saw the empty truck. Valiente's father said that bulls always lose because they are weak. It turns out that Ferdinand's father is gone, but Ferdinand doesn't know that for fact. The stable keeper who saw him outside tried to catch him, but Ferdinand instead ran and tried to escape from the farm. Ferdinand kept running until he got to the railroad tracks. He escaped the keepers by jumping onto one of the wagons. The train carried him away, and after getting off, Ferdinand continued walking aimlessly until he heard a dog's voice. Frightened, Ferdinand walked backward until he slipped and fell into a ravine. Luckily he was found by someone and brought back to his house. In the morning, Ferdinand, who had just woken up, saw a little girl named Nina approaching him. She slowly tried to approach Ferdinand, wanting only to take care of him. Then she took him out of the barn. There he met Nina's father Juan and his guard dog Paco. Ferdinand was happy to live there because Nina's house was in a hilly area where many flower plants grew. Since then, he has lived with Nina and her family. They became good friends. They ate and slept together. Even helped to sell flowers with Nina's dad. Over time, Ferdinand grew into an adult bull. His body is very large, beyond the average bull. Though grown, he still does various activities with Nina's family, such as singing and dancing. Even though he is big, Ferdinand still sleeps with Nina. One day Ferdinand woke up feeling excited because today there was a flower festival in the city. However, when Nina was leaving for the city, her father told her that Ferdinand could no longer go with them to the city because he is now too big. Instead they took Paco with them. Dispirited, Ferdinand went up the hill. There he asks for different signs from stones, even the chicken eggs to hatch. It turns out the chicken egg did hatch, and Ferdinand immediately followed Nina to the city. Arriving at the city, people were surprised to see a big bull roaming around. There Ferdinand had time to comfort a crying baby by making funny faces. Shortly after that, he met Nina, who was arranging her flowers. Then he talked to her behind a clothesline, but when he tried to get free he had trouble because his horn got stuck. Ferdinand kept walking backward to escape, but instead he fell on a flower with bees and was stung in the butt. In pain, Ferdinand made a mess and got the baby he comforted earlier stuck to his horn. Accidentally the pram was thrown, but Ferdinand quickly saved the baby using the pram. Even though he managed to save the baby, the crowd still looked at him like some kind of wild animal. As a result, he was chased by the police and several citizens. Ferdinand then hid in a glass and plate shop. When the shop owner's grandmother is cleaning, he disguises himself as a display. The grandmother, who thought Ferdinand was a display, helped clean it, but that actually made him sneeze. Again he made a mess. This time he destroyed the shop as the grandmother was blown away by his sneeze. Unfortunately, Ferdinand was caught by the police and put in a truck. Nina, who saw everything, tried to catch the truck but failed, and she cried. It turns out that Ferdinand was taken back to his native farm. He tried to rebel but accidentally pushed the farm owner away. The current owner of the farm is Moreno. Shortly after, Moreno told his men to call the goat's trainer. Ferdinand then met a female goat named Lupe. She introduces herself as the calm goat. When Ferdinand got out of the truck, Moreno was amazed to see his very large and sturdy body. Lupe, who saw his body, was also surprised. Then she started to examine his body and said she would be his coach from now on. After that, Ferdinand was brought into the barnyard where he met his old friends, who were amazed to see his enormous body size. While Ferdinand was away, 2 new bulls came there, a longish bull named Angus and a laboratory experimented bull named Maquina. Valiente, who has disliked Ferdinand since childhood, has remained unchanged even though they haven't seen each other for a long time. He greeted Ferdinand's return with a menacing look. After that, Lupe took Ferdinand to his barn, but the space was too small for his enormous size. That night 3 hedgehogs entered Ferdinand's barn to steal food. They are Una, Dos and Quattro. Ferdinand saw the hedgehogs stealing his food and confronted them, which woke Lupe up. Lupe fights with Una for stealing her food. However, the 3 hedgehogs were frightened by Ferdinand's enormous body, but Ferdinand allowed the hedgehogs to take his food and lifted them up so they could get out easily. Ferdinand's intention is to return to Nina, so when Lupe falls asleep he sneaks out of the barn. Unfortunately, he was almost electrocuted by an electric fence and teased by 3 horses who saw his failed escape attempt. In the morning, Lupe, who woke up first, saw the arrival of a matador named El Primero. Then she woke up all the bulls that were in the stable. When Lupe woke Ferdinand, she accidentally stepped on his tail, which surprised him. In his reflexes, he kicked her until she was thrown into a wall. It turned out that El Primero's goal in coming there was to choose the strongest bull to fight him in the arena. Then the guards started setting up the Matador simulation arena, and all the bulls there began to come out. All the bulls looked enthusiastic about attacking the bull except for Ferdinand, who was busy avoiding the other bulls fighting. Guapo, who attacked Valiente, immediately fainted when he saw Matador. Ferdinand, who saw him fainted, ran towards him, but he disrupted the battle area instead. El Primero witnessed it and was disappointed that the animals there did not match his expectations. Mourinho then asked for time to choose the best bull. After the fight simulation was done, all the bulls blamed Ferdinand for not wanting to fight. Then he said that he was not a real fighting bull. Soon after, they saw Guapo being loaded into a truck. Guapo immediately arrogantly thought he was chosen by El Primero when he was actually brought to the slaughterhouse. That evening, Bones was saddened by Guapo's departure. He told Ferdinand to fight so he could be safe in the morning. All the bulls start training to be the strongest, so they are selected by El Primero. Everyone looks excited except for Ferdinand, who is still silent. Lupe, who saw that, did not remain silent. She continued to encourage him so that he would practice. In the middle of the practice arena, Ferdinand saw a rabbit that was almost run over by Angus. Ferdinand immediately ran to help him and nudge Angus until he was thrown down. The little rabbit, who saw Ferdinand running towards him, was shocked and fainted. Then Ferdinand tried to stop his speed but hit a tank instead. After that, Ferdinand immediately went to the rabbit and gave him CPR. Soon the rabbit woke up and left. Ferdinand, who knew Angus's eyesight was obscured because of his long hair, licked his hair up so that he could see more clearly. Angus, who was happy, immediately threw the barrel up. Then the 3 horses that had taunted Ferdinand came back and taunted all the bulls. Feeling insulted, Ferdinand replied with a dance, but the 3 horses did not want to be outdone and immediately responded with a dance that was just as good. After that, Bones and Angus joined Ferdinand dancing against the 3 horses. Finally, the dance moves of the horses did not coordinate and they were electrocuted by the same electric fence, which made the 3 of them loose. Meanwhile, the bulls were very happy because they beat the arrogant horse. After that, Ferdinand invites Lupe to run away from that place to Nina's house. At first, she refuses, but after Ferdinand convinces her, Lupe agrees to run away with him. Then he asks the hedgehogs for help by giving them a toy flower pot that makes a sound. That night, Ferdinand set out to follow the directions of the hedgehogs, who told him to enter Moreno's house. They all began to sneak away there. Then he tried to get in through the window. Even though he had difficulty getting in because of his large body, he finally managed to get in thanks to the help of the hedgehogs. Unfortunately, Ferdinand fell on top of the car. Then the car alarm went off. The guards outside, who heard the car alarm go off, rushed over to check on him. Luckily, the hedgehogs managed to distract them by dancing and biting the hand of one of the guards. Inside the house, Ferdinand sees a photo of his father and his bullhorns hanging on the wall. He realized that all the bulls that went to the Matador arena would surely die. Suddenly, Ferdinand changed his mind. He couldn't let his friends end up like that. Meanwhile, the hedgehogs managed to open the exit, but Ferdinand returned to the barn. He told his friends that he saw the bullhorns on display at Moreno House. He said that being selected to the Matador arena was the same as going to a slaughterhouse. However, Valiente did not believe a word he said. He says Ferdinand was a coward. He remained firm in his stance to enter the arena to survive. He even challenged Ferdinand to a fight. However, Ferdinand did not want to fight with him. When Valiente attacks him, Ferdinand tries to stop him, but he accidentally breaks Valiente's horn and El Primero sees that, and finally Ferdinand was chosen to be El Primero's opponent in the arena. Meanwhile, Valiente, who had lost one of his horns, was brought to the slaughterhouse, but Ferdinand remained focused on his plan to escape with his friends. Then the hedgehogs lured the 3 horses into the bull's pen and locked it from the outside. Meanwhile, Ferdinand goes to the slaughterhouse to free Valiente. Once there, he forced open the slaughterhouse door using his horns and went inside. He managed to find Valiente and asked him to escape together, but Valiente, who was already desperate, told him to leave. Suddenly, Ferdinand heard Guapo's voice, then he went looking for Guapo. It turns out that Guapo was strung up, but he hadn't been cut yet. He was trying to save himself. As soon as he saw Ferdinand, Guapo felt very happy. However, when Ferdinand was about to let Guapo go, he accidentally activated the butcher system. They panicked and he tried his best to save Guapo. When Guapo was about to get cut, Valiente surprisingly came to save him. Apparently Valiente had a change of heart and decided to go with them. After going through several obstacles, the 3 of them finally managed to escape the slaughterhouse and hit the horses in the stables. Ferdinand then told his friends to get into the truck while he climbed in the front of the truck. Lupe and hedgehogs drive the escape truck. The guards, who knew the bulls would run away, immediately came out to catch them. The little rabbit from the day before appeared as they approached the gate and they immediately stopped. Ferdinand got down to take the rabbit with him in the truck. Angus tries to revive the rabbit by electrocuting it. After that, he realized he was even more scared because he was surrounded by adult bulls. The chase continued until morning on a highway. Unfortunately, their truck hit a low bridge, causing the top of the truck to break off. As Moreno's men approached their truck, one of the guards tried to grab the truck and force the bulls to pull over. Seeing this, Una had an idea to get rid of Moreno's men. Suddenly, she jumped into his car and then opened the hood, which caused them to lose control and crash into a mound of dirt in front of him. So he was thrown off the track and hit a haystack. They then managed to escape from the pursuit of the guards. Shortly afterwards, the bulls were caught in a traffic jam and were being chased again by Moreno and the guards. Ferdinand, who saw that, told his friends to run to the train station and get on the train there to escape the pursuit. All the animals got out of the truck and followed Ferdinand's instructions. Seeing a herd of adult bulls in the middle of a traffic jam is not normal and caught the attention of many civilians in the middle of the road. The bulls got on the bus to get there quickly. The bus passengers were very surprised to see bulls getting on the bus with them and became terrified. Arriving at the station, Moreno and his men again chased them. However, Ferdinand and the others then pushed the wagon, and after it moved he told his friends to get on, but Ferdinand stopped because he knew Moreno was only after him. He sacrificed himself so his friends could escape. Ferdinand was captured and the news quickly got to Nina and her father on TV. On the other hand, El Primero is preparing for his fight in the arena. The Matador fight began. El Primero came out to a roar of cheers from the audience, then Ferdinand also came out. However, when the game started he was silent because he didn't want to fight. So the officers there forced him using a spear and El Primero started toying with him. Unexpectedly, El Primero's red cloth got stuck in Ferdinand's horn in the middle of the fight. Then a battle developed. El Primero was thrown onto Ferdinand's back, which the audience found funny. Ferdinand, who felt uncomfortable being ridden, knocked El Primero out of the arena. Then an angry El Primero re-entered the arena with his spears. He kept trying to attack Ferdinand even though Ferdinand kept avoiding him. Finally, El Primero managed to injure Ferdinand, which made Ferdinand angry and hurt him. Luckily, his horn only caught his shirt, but his anger immediately subsided after seeing the flower that he stepped on. Knowing there is no chance to escape, El Primero takes out his sword and prepares to kill Ferdinand. As he was about to kill Ferdinand, the action was stopped by the spectators who wanted the bull to live, and finally the fight was won by Ferdinand, who was greeted by his best friend Nina soon after. Nina entered the arena and immediately hugged Ferdinand. His friends showed up shortly afterwards. First, they did not think that Ferdinand could win. After the fight, Ferdinand and his friends were taken to Nina's place, and now they all live happily there without having to worry about fighting a matador again, and the film ends. Thanks for watching Movie Reruns. If you enjoyed this recap, consider subscribing to our channel for more movie recaps.